Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another exciting and fun-filled episode on this Passagemaker dinghy build series. We got lots to do, so let's get at it. As you can tell, I've hosed up the video and audio again, so I'll be doing a little bit of voiceover here to begin with. Right here, just to get us going, I've showed that I've got a little bit of a discrepancy, a little bit of mismatch between the two parts of the whole. Now that we've got them back together again, you can see that there's a quite a bit of gap, and I think the forward section is actually kind of pulled in together on both sides. I'm just showing here how there's a little bit of difference. Even up here, but then on the other side here is similar. So what I'm going to do here first is go ahead and fair this down so that they're a little bit equal, and get the sander out and get going on it. All right, and you can see here that I've gone ahead and sanded the two parts out, and I've actually burned through the plywood, or the epoxy rather, where I had to even those two surfaces out, and that's pretty much the same on both sides. You can see it's a little bit more on the back part than on the front part, but they're nice and decently smooth now. So we'll switch back here to some actual recording. Coats of epoxy just on these spots here, and then probably not tomorrow, but the next day I'll just rough them up, and hopefully we'll be ready to paint this darn boat. All right, so it's been a couple days since I put this epoxy where I had sanded it down. So that's looking pretty good. A couple of spots, the whole thing I'll have to, I'm going to just do some hand sanding with 80 grit. I hit a couple other spots, so I think we're all looking pretty good. So I'll do some hand sanding, but the problem, I'm not sure that plastic was was the best idea. I'm afraid, especially if I start putting a lot of paint on here, or do the primer and the paint, I'm worried a couple of spots here that are pretty tight that will start covering it over, and then I'm going to have to cut it again. And so I'm going to do the hand sanding, I'm going to take the boat apart, and then I'm going to try something else. That's the name of the game here, is try something. If that don't work, try something else. Yeah, and down here, I might not even be able to get the boat apart without doing a little bit of judicious cutting. But anyway, so yeah, so I'll do hand sanding, get the boat flipped over and get it apart, and then see if I've got another idea here to work on putting it back together and not getting it stuck together. All right, well, it's New Year's Day. I'm back out in the shed finally. I've got the boat taken apart. Let me tell you what, getting this boat apart and back together is a chore. I've complained about the locating the holes and putting those together. I just don't like it. So I had a comment in one of the last videos, and somebody had gone to Lowe's and got some nylon spacers and epoxied them in, and said that works real well. So that's what I did. So we got some spacers here. I've got the half by 0.328 by 1, which will fit the 5/16 inch bolt here. It's got a little bit of play, but it's not too bad. These are again, these are 1/2 inch wide. So now, and also I did get I got 0.385. I'm thinking the same 1/2 inch outer diameter, but 0.385. I'm thinking these might work for the bottom two, and then these would work for the top two. But we're going to do the top two first anyways, so we'll see how that works, and we may need to go get some more of these, I think, if they work real well. But now the problem is I've got a 5/16 inch hole, and I need to make it at least a 1/2 inch hole, if I epoxy these in, I probably want to make it a little bit bigger. So I've been doing some practicing and trying to figure out the best way to do this. I used these can't remember what they're called. Anyways, I used these guys with the tape on it to tell me where to stop, and that worked kind of okay. And then I used I was thinking I'd do a 1/2 inch hole, and then use those to give me a spot to epoxy around it. And that's pretty tight, and it's probably a little bit tighter than I want. Then the next thing is I went and got I got a little bit bigger drill, and this has got the I can't remember what that tip is called, but instead of this kind of tip, you see, I couldn't. That's a 5/16 inch hole there, and you don't really have a good way to locate it in the center. But with this type of drill bit, I can locate the center, and have a little bit better luck, I think, with not being off by too much. So I think that's the plan. And this is a 9/16 inch drill. Now it does give me quite a bit of room here, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get this lined up. My other problem is, if I look at this, so this would go, this would go in here. It's a little bit long, no problem. I can cut it off afterwards, but I'm just wondering how I'm going to locate it in the bigger hole and get it to stay there while I epoxy it. I haven't quite figured that out. I think we'll just go ahead and start working on it and figuring out as we go along. I've been thinking about this too much. So on this side, I'm going to go ahead and put it all the way through, and then we'll get it located and epoxy it in. And like I said, I still need to think about how I'm going to do that. But on the other side over here, hold on, let me get one of these. I guess I didn't show it very well, but with on the carriage bolt end, even using those washers, you can see I've got quite a bit of gap because the shoulder of the carriage bolt hits on the end of this nylon spacer. So I think what I'm going to have to do is, on this side, I think what I'm going to do is only drill the 9/16 inch out part way, and especially on this side where I'll go ahead and actually, after I drill it out, and when I go to put the spacer in, I'll be able to make it a little bit more even more horizontal. So I'll only drill part way through and put the spacer in, and then I'll come back, and when I epoxy it in, I'll just fill that hole in, and then I'll be able to drill that out using this as the guide for it. So that's kind of the plan. I know I'm making this too complicated, but I think hopefully this will work out in the end. All right, so to minimize tear out, I'm going to try to go halfway through from this side and halfway through from the other side. This probably won't go well, but gotta give it a shot anyways. All right, well, that looks pretty good. I'm not sure how it matches up. I think Yeah, I think I got enough wiggle room there. I guess I'm not too worried about the other side of that. That we'll be able to line that up when we do the dry fit. All right, good. Let me, I'm going to go ahead and pause here, do the other side, and then we'll be back to do the front section. Well, some YouTuber I am. All right, so anyways, I did the hole here only part way through the front section. I couldn't film that one because it was kind of awkward and everything. So anyways, but I do now have a dry fit here that I'm pretty happy with, I think, on both sides. And I've already gone and done like a little pre-cut on the spacers. And I just used one of these hacksaw holder thingamajigs here to to cut the nylon down. It was a little bit awkward. I just clamped them down with a clamp and went to town on them. So anyways, I think I'm pretty happy, like I said, with this. So what I'm going to do next is to take these guys off. And I do have the bottom ones are a little bit snug. They're not real tight, just kind of firmed up just to help hold everything in place. But now I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this off and see if I can get the spacer out from in between there, and then fill this side with thickened epoxy, put the spacer back in, put this all back together, and hopefully have it right. So I've already got tape on the washer here. Well, heck, let's just go ahead and take this apart now. So my only concern now with doing this epoxy on this nylon washer here. Oh, you see that? I don't know if that. I'll have to figure out something. I want the nylon washer to be flush on this side, so I might have to do a little finagling there. But the only thing I'm trying to avoid now is gluing the carriage bolt in, so I'll do this side first, and then I'll come back and do this side. I know probably tomorrow, and hopefully that way it'll be a little bit less messy, and I'll be able to control it a little bit. So the only thing I'm thinking now that I might want to do is I'm not sure if we'll be able to put packing tape on this carriage bolt. Oh, there's the part. You see I the cut is a little bit rough. I might sand that up a little bit before I put it in. But I'm just wondering now if I go ahead and mark this carriage bolt here and put some packing tape on it from here back, or I could put, I haven't tried it before, but I would think that putting some grease on there might help too. Some dielectric grease I've got. Let's try the packing tape first. We know that works. If I can get the carriage bolt back in there with the packing tape on, I think that might be the way to go. But all right, anyways, let me do a little bit more work on this, and then we'll be back to see if I can get these nylon spacers glued in. All right, well, this is taking quite a bit longer than I thought it would. But anyway, so I think I'm all ready now. I put some extra tape here. I took the boat apart. I put packing tape on both sides of the boat in the middle here. I reamed this out using a counterboard just a little bit. I've got the pieces all ready to go, the nylon bushings, and I've taken and rubbed them over sandpaper a little bit to roughen them up. So now my idea is that I will mix up some epoxy and we'll wet out the inside with clear epoxy, and I'll make that into some thickened epoxy, and I'll put it on the outside of this guy and jam it in here, and then put the bolt back through and tighten it down, and what could possibly go wrong? So let's get this party started. All right, let's wet it out first. Get the other side. All right, now for the messy part. It's probably not quite peanut butter consistency. Probably a little bit less. Make sure I got the right hand to get messy here. That doesn't look too bad. All right, now let's put the bolt in first here. I did the dry fit. Actually had to hammer it a little bit. Let's see if this goes in. Oh yeah, that's nice. Now I'll put the washer on. Hopefully when I tighten this up, oops. When I tighten this up, it'll kind of self-center. That's what the theory is anyways. I did find some anti-seize, so I did put some anti-seize on the ends of the threads there. Just a real light film. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and pause here. I'll do the other side, and then we'll be back out tomorrow to see how it looks. Okie dokie then. It's the next day, and let's see if we can actually get this boat apart and see how gluing in those nylon bushings worked yesterday. It's a little bit chilly out here this morning. I think it's 53 in here right now. Figure by the time I get the boat back apart and get set up for gluing the other pieces on, it'll probably have warmed up a little bit. So the bolt's wanting to turn, which isn't a good sign. There we go. Might have to chase out the threads on the knob and on the bolt here. Yeah, looks like we got a little bit of glue at the end there. Let me get this side off next. That one went a lot better. You know, I might have forgot to put anti-seize on that. It went over there now that I think about it. Alright, now I think this is going to take a little persuasion. Where's my persuader here? Let's just see if we can persuade these bolts to come out. It came out a little bit. What the heck happened here? This small one on this side just pulled out with the no problem. That looks pretty good. Uh-oh. Alright, not too bad. I got a little bit of a void in there. Quite a bit of a void, actually. Alright, that's alright though. I think a little bit of cleanup on that side. I'll show you. Let me just get this other one off and then we'll bring you around and show you what we got. Alright. Alright, so you can see the nylon bushing in here, and you can see on the bottom there's a pretty big void, but it seems to be in there pretty good. And then on the back side here, you can see we're just a little bit proud. Probably might give that a sand down just to smooth it out a little bit. But anyways, and the other side is a little bit better for the voids. That one's on the top with a little bit of void, so I'll probably get the syringes out at some point and try to and fill those in a little bit better to smooth them out. But overall, I think that went pretty good. So my task now is to get the, I just want to make sure I get the other side here, get this bushing in on this back side. I am going to get my countersink bit and countersink the hole here so that the carriage bolt will sit in there a little bit better, a little bit flatter. Doesn't need much, just a little bit, especially when I put those washers, the carriage bolt washers on. It really just needs just a little bit of room there, and then I think we'll be good. So yeah, so I'll before I do any more epoxying, I'll go ahead and do that here, and I'll have to make sure. You know, I think I'm going to do is on this next go around, I'm just going to put the bolt in from this side just for alignment, and I'll use the clamps to squeeze this together instead of trying to use the washer and the knob on it. I'll use the clamps to hold it together and the bolt to keep the alignment right. So I think that might work. All right, so good. So let me do a little bit of cleanup here, get this all ready, and hopefully we can get this other side done here pretty quick. All right, so I've already done a dry fit on this. I think this will work pretty good. So I've got the bolt that'll come through from this side, and I've got tape on it all the way so that where it's sitting at, tape here, so we shouldn't have any problems there. If I can get it back out without hosing it up. And then I've got tape on this face here around the hole, and then I've got the bushing that will fit in right like that. And then I'll put the bushing in, I'll epoxy and put the bushing in on both sides, and then I'll use the clamp here to clamp them together and to have and then put the bolt through as a locator. So I'm gonna get some epoxy mixed up, and let's see if we can get this part done today. All right, just got the unthickened epoxy here. We'll just wet out the hole a little bit. Same procedure as I did yesterday, where I'll wet out both holes and I'll make this into some thickened epoxy, and we'll put the bushing in. Alrighty, let's see how this works. Oops, darn it, you know what I forgot to do was to use some sandpaper to rough this up a little bit. Let me do that real quick. Don't know if that helps or not, but it seems like a good idea to me. Alright, now let's try this. Alright, let me get the other side, and then we'll see if we can get it put together here. Alrighty, now for the moment of truth here. Let's see, how am I going to do this? I need to come forward. Alright, that side's through. And that side's through. Nice. clamp these guys down. All right, good deal. This is going to be a long process time-wise for me, because I don't really have enough room out in the shed now to work on anything else. When I do stuff like this, I don't want to bang it or upset it. So I think, and it's not like I'm in a big rush, but anyways, yeah. So this is still going to take another 2 or 3 days to do. So the next step will be tomorrow will be to come out, take this apart, and then we'll work on the ones underneath and get nylon spacers in those. Hopefully that won't be too bad. Still trying to think of how I'm going to do it, but we'll figure it out when we get there. All right, another day out here now. Let's see. So today I want to see if I'll get these bolts out here and make sure we've got a good bond on those nylon bushings here, and then we'll work on putting nylon bushings down here today. So let's see if these bolts come out without too much problem. Yeah, maybe. I'm going to pound them out a little bit more, and then we'll undo the clamps. Bother. Punch here to just punch out the ends. All right, not too bad. Yep, not too bad. I think they both came out pretty good. Let me show you here. So you see a little bit of voids. Like I said, I'm going to have to clean all these up anyways. But we'll go ahead and call that a success for now. So now I just need to drill these guys out. I'll use the 9/16" drill on them, and I'll get some nylon bushings made up for those. And then this is going to be a little bit different too. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'll tape up these guys, and once I drill the holes out, I'll put them back through, and then I'll make sure I've got everything aligned, and then with these sticking through, I'll put the bushings back over them and glue them in place that way. I think that's the plan. I'm going to try to just drill halfway through from each side to minimize blowout. Oops, this guy's right in the way. I'm not going to be able to fit my drill down there. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. Let's try the same thing on over here. Yeah, that worked pretty good. Minimal tear out and pretty clean holes. So good. Pretty sure, and I have those other nylon bushings that have a thinner wall. These guys right here that are 1/2 by 0.385 by 1. I think I'm going to go ahead and try. I've still got the other ones that are 1 by 0.328 by 1. It'll be a tighter fit, but I think I'm going to go ahead and try these instead of the thinner walled ones. Before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and use the countersink bit to open those up and clean them out a little bit on that side. Yeah, I think I'm going to put the boat back together so that I can get a better idea of how much I need to cut off and how much I need to leave on here. Yeah, let's do that. Since I'm at it, I might as well go ahead and get these bolts back in the top holes here. If I can get this, if I can get this packing tape off the bolts. Once I'm all done with this, I think I'm going to probably end up cleaning out those holes with the 5/16 inch drill bit. But for now, as long as I can get the bolts through, I'm good. Since I drilled these holes out, these are sitting just a little bit lower than what they had been before. So I think I'm going to do something here first. See if I can get a chunk of wood under the front part here to lift it up just a little bit. That's better. All right, that looks pretty good. These bolts are a lot more centered, and the bushing fits on pretty darn good. All right, good. Let me pause here. I'm going to go ahead and I'll mark where I want to cut on the bushing, and then I'm going to have to take the boat back apart and tape up these guys, and then do one last final dry fit. Yeah, because I've got to tape not only the bolts but also on the back. Yeah, all right, got some prep work to do here, so we'll pause and be back in a little bit. All right, I think I've got all the prep work done. I think I'm all ready to do glue these supports in here. Yeah, so I've got them tightened down here on the top bolts. Didn't think I needed to put any kind of clamps in there since I've got them cinched down pretty good. Seems to be holding pretty steady. I think I've got a good centering position. The dry fit seemed to be pretty good. So again, I'll just go through and wet these out and make this into thickened epoxy, and we'll get them put in there. I've got packing tape on the screws themselves, and then on the back side of this bulkhead here, I've got more packing tape. So hopefully it won't stick together, but with me, you never know. The nylon bushings that I'm going to put in here, I think will be standing out just a little proud, and I'm okay with that because I can sand them down pretty easy. So let me make this into some thickened epoxy and keep on going. All right, now for the messy part here. Let's put this down here. Alright, I do have, there it is. I've got a washer with packing tape on. I'm just going to slide over here just to smush this down in a little bit. Alright, get the other one done and call it a day. Not too worried about any oozage here. I've got packing tape underneath, and I expect I'll have to do some cleanup anyways. Always do. Yep, all right, good. We'll pause here, and so I'll pause here and we'll be back in the morning. Well then, so it's the next day, And now it's time to see if we can get the boat back apart, and we'll clean up, see if we can clean up and touch up the nylon bushings. I know I've got a couple of voids in there I want to see if I can get filled, and take a look and see how we did on the bottom one here. So this ought to be a chore today. This is probably one that'll give me grief, but let's see if we can at least get these washers off here to start with. Oh yeah, nice. All right, had some oozage here. It might take a little bit of work to clean that up. It dripped on the bottom, but it dripped on the packing tape I put down for the most part. So hopefully with a little bit of work that'll come right off. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of voids there. I'm not sure how I'm going to address that. Let's get this other side off. Oh yeah, this side looks really good. Yeah, thought it might be a little bit rough getting these apart. Let's see if we can get some persuasion on it here. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice. Good deal. Might have to chase the threads a little bit. Got quite a bit of cleanup on this one and that one. Anything there? All right, well good. Let me go ahead and get these. I'm going to go ahead and tilt the front part back up. And then I've got to figure out how I'm going to get some more epoxy filled around this one. That one looks really good. This one, let me take a look at the back side here once I get the front out of the way. That one needs quite a bit of work. This one and these. So, all right, yep, let me pause here. We'll get set up and figure out what's next. All right, well, this may look a little precarious, but I think we're okay. Got it well tied down up there, so I don't think the boat's going to fall. We never know, though. So I've got them all cleaned up, and the plan here, you can see I've got some pretty good voids around those bushings. They're in there pretty good, but I do want to go ahead and address those voids, especially on this back part here. So what the plan is to mix up some really thick epoxy, jam it in those voids, and then use a 5/16 inch dowel that I have here, and I've covered it with packing tape, and I'll just push it through, and we'll let it ooze all over the place, and I'm sure I'll have to do some cleanup. Hopefully if I make it thick enough, we can pack it in there pretty good, and the dowel will keep that hole clear. So I'll do that on all four of the bushings here on the back side. And on the front side, again, we got some voids here, and also on these, you remember I relieved where the carriage bolt head fits in on the back side here. So I want to do a drill and fill on this, but what I'm going to do is use a dowel, and I got it with packing tape, and I'll put it to the level of, I'll jam this in here to the level of the blue tape, and then we'll let that set up. So I've got packing tape on both sides here, and dowels all ready to go. So hopefully that'll still leave me a nice little guide hole there where I can finish and drill that out, and keep it pretty straight. So let me get you set up. I'll do these ones back here first, and then we'll go and do the front ones. Alrighty then, well here goes nothing. The epoxy, thickened epoxy is really thick here. So hopefully we'll be able to jam it in there and we won't get too much oozage or drippage. Thinking about it, I probably should have made it this thick when I put them in the first time, but I want to make sure I had a good bond. This is more for just filling it in, the voids. So let's see how this works. You know, pop a dowel through here. That works pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can jam some of this epoxy on the back side too. It's like it'll stick in place. All right, good deal. Let me do the other one on the bottom, and then we'll finish up the two on the top. Oops, broke my stir stick. All right, let me pause here. I'll do the two on the top just like that, and then we'll switch over and do the front section. All right, good. So I got the back part done. Let's go ahead and do these guys here. I switched to the little chisel stick here. I just had an idea that I probably want to use one of these small stir sticks for this. You might even need to cut it down to, yeah, let me just get a pair of scissors and we'll make this skinny. I need to get some wooden toothpicks out here in the shed, I think. All right, let's get some, see if we can load in some thickened epoxy here. Well, that worked. Let me just put a little bit more in there. Yep. All right, good. It's squeezing out the back side there, so I know I know I've got plenty in there. I think what I'm going to do is take that tape off and clean that up, and then put another piece of tape back over it. Okay, one more to do, and we're good to go. Alrighty, that looks pretty good. Let me get cleaned up, and I think we'll go ahead and finish up the episode. Alrighty then, I think this putting in these bushings was the right thing to do. It's taken quite a while to get the job done. Good enough. There's nowhere near perfect, and again, this is just how I'm doing it. I'm sure there's a much better way to do this than the way I'm doing it. So next episode, I'll be taking out the dowels. Like I said, we'll have to drill these holes out again, and then hopefully we'll be able to get the boat put back together, get it flipped back upside down. Oh, when I put it together, we'll have the figure out a way to seal this up so that I'm not getting any paint runnage down through on either side. But you'll have to come back for the next episode to see that. Anyways, yeah, and so turn the boat upside down and get the bottom painted, at least the first coat on. I just got to start painting. I got that figured out. Just gotta get it going at it. So anyways, I want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Please leave me any comments, questions, suggestions down below. Please tell your friends about me, and please subscribe. Everyone, take care and be good.